In the description section to this video, I'm including links to my political resume and a free copy of my book, A Handbook to Freedom. Hello, my name is Josh Butterfield, and I have officially decided to run for Morgan County Sheriff. So I personally don't affiliate with either side of the two-party political system. I think that it is designed and used to just keep us divided, and the more they can keep us divided, the more control they have over us. So to overcome this, I have created my own political party that I call localism, where we just give the local community the most power possible. If you look around, we run things locally anyways. The federal government doesn't do much for us on a local level as it is. Everything is run by we, the people in the community. Politicians are passing 1,000-page laws that they don't even read, that are written by lobbyists. The system is ran by money and not run by we, the people. So logically, the only way to overcome this is to limit the size and power of the government. I feel that the local people should stand up basically and secede from the federal government, as they've become a huge waste that are no longer in we the people's best interest. I think that we could save our money and instead invest it in our community locally and just do all we can to make our local communities as strong as possible. We can legally do this by passing around a petition for a home rule charter, and once we vote a home rule charter into effect, we can legally decide our own ways of life locally and leave the power of the government to that of protecting us in case we're ever invaded, and staying united as a country and brethren with everyone, but limiting the powers of the federal government and those that are in control, because they have proven themselves to be greedy, and it's just history and it's just mankind. So once again, we can legally do this through what's called a home rule charter, and it will be up to the sheriff to enforce those ways of life. I feel that our sheriffs have taken an oath to the Constitution, and in order to uphold that oath, they now must be faced with continuing to follow politicians' orders or standing up for the Constitution and we the people. And so this is a way for us to legally stand up and set things right. I can't legally win. I'll break that down in a separate video. I have a YouTube page I call Butterfield Unleashed, and I give a complete breakdown of everything. I'm very in depth with every aspect of everything I'm doing. I had a little boy that passed away, and I promised him I would do all I could to try and make the world a better place. And I wrote a book. I call it A Handbook to Freedom and World Peace. That's what I originally called it. Now I've narrowed it down to just A Handbook to Freedom. And I just try and open up the door and open up the conversation for figuring out solutions to the world and the problems that we now face. So I think we have to start somewhere. And if we all could just sit down and work together for solutions, I think that's what we need to be able to do. So that's all I'm trying to do, is throw out new solutions, different ideas, and asking everybody to sit down with me and work together. I will gladly interview anyone at any time, and I will gladly sit down and openly discuss ideas with anyone at any time. So I'm asking everybody for help. And this isn't about me. It's about freedom, and it's about self-sufficiency, and it's about putting the power back in we the people's hands, and basically making things more about community and even family, and just trying to stay local on the local level. And hopefully this is an idea that will catch on and we'll be able to take and adapt to every community all over in every state in the nation. I also have an idea on how to make sure justice reigns no matter what. Currently, there is an opportunity for corruption in the system. Those who are connected cannot be investigated if they're connected to the prosecutor or to police officers. And there's even laws called qualified immunity which protect them and keep them protected from accountability if they break the law. I feel this is wrong, and I feel that giving someone the power to decide justice solely is leaving the door open for corruption. And it's just an obvious fact that it can happen. I'm not trying to call out any person or specific agency at all. I'm saying as a whole, the way things are run, it leaves the door open for corruption, because police officers at any time can decide to not give a friend a ticket or hold them accountable with court. And whether it be another police officer or a friend or someone connected, a celebrity or whatever, they can avoid justice. And that's not what justice should be. And ultimately, it comes down to a prosecutor's hands and one person that can decide to throw out a court case. In which case, if that person becomes corrupt, we've now lost our entire justice system. So to overcome this, I have an idea on how to put the power back in we the people's hands through a form of checks and balances. It's called a justice box. We put a box on the courthouse and put a live camera feed on it. And from there, anyone at any time can go and drop a file in there of evidence. And everyone in the county that's a registered voter and wants to be a part of this signs up and says, hey, I'll be a part of this, and you get a number designated to you. Once a month, just like a lottery or a bingo or anything else, we draw numbers. And from there, the people elected will elect 10 people, and out of those 10 people, if 8 of them vote to pass it, that it should go to court. From there, due process takes over, and it's a form of checks and balances where we, the people, can also be the prosecutor and hold anyone accountable at any time. And I think that this is essential in order to ensure justice in the system and in order to set everything right, because right now there currently isn't justice. You can look at famous people and politicians and all these people that are not being held accountable. There's a lot of problems within the system, and I think this would help figure it all out, because at any time, people that are connected cannot be investigated and use money or whatever. And I mean, just greed's inherent in mankind, and we have to do what we can to recognize that and prepare for that, and just simply figure out a way to ensure justice and a form of checks and balances. And I think that this is a good start to ensuring such. And I ask everyone out there to help elaborate on this idea and make it better. But I think that for anybody out there who is struggling and seeking justice because they feel that the person they may be seeking justice from is connected or rich or famous or powerful in some way, this would ensure that everyone receives justice and that justice is served. And I think it's essential to fix the justice system. From there, I feel that we should follow the no victim, no crime principle and simply go after those that are committing crimes. There's a lot of people in this world that are committing crimes and getting away with it. And it's because we don't have the police resources. But at the same time, we are constantly giving people fines for victimless crimes. And I believe in the land of the free, that is wrong. So all the crimes that I see that are victimless crimes, I think we should instead be investing all those resources and all those police officers and prosecuting and everything. The entire system should be spent instead going after those committing crimes and trying to seek justice for those that have been hurt and change the mentality in which we think. And that way criminals know they won't be getting away with harming people. And at the end of it all, justice will be served, and we'll ultimately have freedom, and freedom will reign, and that will be the foundation on which society is run. As long as we don't harm nobody, we should be free to do what we want and be left alone. I think that's all any of us want. One final observation and solution that I see is that the system currently is run by money, and everyone's punishment is a fine, more likely than not. And I'll look and I'll see roomfuls of people, and they're struggling to get by, and their only crime is being poor and not paying dues to the system to buy their freedoms back for licenses or insurances or things, and freedoms that have been taken from us. So I feel that this is wrong. And once again, I feel that we should be investing those resources into other things. But in a system where monetary punishment is your punishment, that's not a fair punishment to everyone. Someone that's just barely scraping by and has, kids they're trying to take care of and just maybe in a hard situation is not the same as someone who is really wealthy and has millions of dollars. A $100 fine to someone who can't even afford their electricity or food is a much bigger deal to someone that has $1 million in the bank. So a fine is not a fair punishment to everyone. So to overcome this, time is. We all have equal time in this planet, and we never know when our time is, and it's hard. So time is an equal punishment. So at the end of it all, if we do community service and use that to replace monetary punishment, we will be able to raise our communities up and make them once again stronger than ever. We can do orchards and gardens and parks and any community property and have people take care of that are doing community service and just raise up the community, and people who make the community better, they're not going to want to harm it. So it's a all-around great idea, and it takes the money out of it. Right now we don't even track the money and where it goes. It's you can't track where your fines go and how much there is. And I think that the system is just prospering off people being poor even, and just laws, and we should instead invest these resources to help seek justice in the justice system. and use the justice system for what it's for, and not creating money, but instead creating justice for those that have been harmed. So I am super honest and I am extremely detailed. So in my YouTube channel, Butterfield Unleashed, you can see everything I'm doing. I will break down every aspect and all the legalities of everything, and I even post a political resume where I go in depth about my life and all my views. And I think that if every politician was open and honest to the absolute fullest, it would help the entire system. And then from there, make a forum where we can openly sit down and discuss things back and forth, which is what I would love to do as well with all the other sheriff's candidates in Morgan County. I've been trying to do it with Camden County and have had some success, but I would like to have a chance in Morgan County as well. Like I said, I did run in Camden County before, and I will give a complete breakdown on the reasons why I've switched counties and everything going on there in a separate video. Morally, I believe that taxation is theft, and I refuse to be extorted, and I refuse to be an accessory to our larger politicians' crimes. I feel that if we are forced to pay for a politician that is committing crimes, we have now become an accessory to that, and I refuse to contribute to that system any longer. I give a complete breakdown on this in my YouTube channel. Once again, number 13 is the number you'd be looking for my truth about my history and everything concerning taxes. And then again, number 79 will be a video about solutions and what I feel would be a solution for a voluntary tax system in which we basically give a multiple choice selection on where we would like to give our taxes and make it completely voluntary like it should be. That way it's no longer theft. Ultimately, I'm just trying to help the community and the people I love and care about. I see hard times in our future. To me, it seems inevitable that we're going to have a war or a dollar collapse in the very near future. And the only way we can prepare for that is to be as self-sufficient as possible. And if we can stand up as communities and work together to just do the best we can locally and raise our communities up and make them stronger than ever, I think that that will be the answer. If we can live without being dependent upon an outside source for food and energy, those are the two main elements for survival that we need and that we need to start focusing on. And I know it seems like a hard objective, but if we all grew gardens instead of lawns, and we all maybe had greenhouses and chickens and just did what we could to be as self-sufficient locally as possible and prepare for hard times and what may be on our forefront. And at the end of it all, if it does happen, we just got to be ready and have a mindset. And I think that even something as simple as a local community grocery store that's run like a consignment store where we can take in goods and goods of any kind really and just trade and barter that way through a local consignment store would work in an emergency scenario. But there's just so many different ideas and layers I have to it all, and I try to break it down as much as possible. But ultimately, I think that the federal government is a huge, over-controlling, overbearing waste, and that it's time we acknowledge that it's just too much and we limit the size of government and we figure out how to do that. And I'm trying to open up the conversation for that, and I have a lot of ideas on how to make this actually work efficiently, very efficiently, and how to fix a lot of the problems. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying they're perfect, but I would like to open up this conversation and see where we can take it and just sit down and work together to make our communities the best we can. And I think ultimately that's going to be the answer. So I appreciate everybody. Like I said, voting for me is not, it doesn't matter. Whoever's got the nominee or somebody else is going to win besides me. Any vote for me is just basically giving a middle finger to the bigger forms of government and saying that we've had enough of your stuff and that we're just going to try and do things locally, and that we want to rise up as a community where we live and work with everybody around us. And if you look around, we all pretty much believe the same thing where we're at, and just let's just do our own thing and let freedom be the answer, because we all ultimately want the freedom to just do our own thing and be left alone. So as long as we aren't harming anybody, let's just work together as a community to make the world the best we can. I appreciate everybody, and thank you all for listening.